Let's do it. You ready today, Marvin? Got that clip ready? We got to do this report. The people need to know. We have to warn them. As a news channel and a broadcaster, we have to warn the people. We have to warn the world about Mexico. Let's do it, Marvin. Good evening. I'm Steve S.H. Walters reporting for Breaking News 500 here in Vero Beach, Florida. Today's topic is Mexico. Stay away from Mexico. Don't go down to Mexico. Whatever you do, don't go down to Mexico. You may say I'm being a little hard, a little harsh. Don't get me wrong, folks. I got a love for Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I love the women. Boy, do I love the women. I love the food. I love the culture. I love the beaches. So much to do, so much to see. Mexico at one time was great, but things have changed, folks. Things have changed. ¿Sabes qué? Hablo español es mi segundo lenguaje. Yeah, I got quite a history down there in Mexico. As a kid, used to go with my family. Well, let's be in this photo. 1968, Tijuana, Mexico. I'm the number one poncho. The number one poncho. I know what you're thinking. I was a cute kid, right? Yeah. I was adorable, right? What happened? Well, I got older, folks. I got older. Times change, things change. I've been down to Ensenada a few times. I went down to Ensenada with my good friend Carl. In fact, I told Carl about this report, and he said share all the stories in Ensenada. He'd love to hear them. I'll just give you this much about Carl. If you ask Carl how many times I've been arrested in TJ, he'd say 5 times, 5 times. Well, he's right, folks. I've been arrested down there 5 times. That's not a good thing. No, I'm not a criminal, but I do have a TJ story to tell you about that later. Once I was arrested for taking a photo. Harassment, folks. Harassment. Pure harassment. I've been to Guadalajara, Mexico. I was down there for a wedding. Thank God it wasn't my wedding. Woohoo! I dodged the bullet on that one. I was down in Acapulco for 4 days seeing an ex of mine who I loved, and she's Mexican and she's from Mexico. I won't go into any of those stories. I was in Cancun, Mexico. I was in Rosarito Beach, Mexico. Been to a lot of places in Mexico. Quite a history, folks. Well, before we get into the dark side of Mexico, I want to show you a little clip of some fun things down in Cancun. And then we're getting to the darker side. I know you're waiting for it, and that's what you want to hear. We're supposed to warn you, right? Well, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you. Are you ready, Marvin? Got the clip ready? All right, Marvin, you're on it today. Roll the clip. Well, did you like that clip? Good times in Cancun. People are having fun. People are partying. That's the way it should be. That's the way it used to be. Well, it still goes on somewhat, but it's just not safe down there. Now, let me give you a TJ story, and I'm going to see what you think about that. Now, I used to go down to Tijuana a lot with a good friend of mine I call Peso Dave. I call him Peso because he's cheap. That was my nickname for him. And we had this whole Tijuana run worked out. See, we go down there for the ladies and the party and all that good stuff. Well, the thing is, when you go down to Tijuana, especially coming from LA, there's a whole process to do this. You got to have your wits about you. And this story is about 12 years ago. Well, somewhere in there. Anyway, you get down to Mexico, you don't go drive in. You don't go into Tijuana. You park on the American side where your car is safe. And you walk into that city. Because once you go through those rolling bars, you're like in a prison. You're in Mexico. You're in their country. You got no rights. Forget that you're American. Forget that you got a license or a passport. It don't matter. It don't matter. If you're found dead in the desert somewhere, you think the president of the U.S. is going to go investigate? You think they think they really care? You're done. You're dead. You're done. Maybe your family comes down and tries to find or help out somehow, but you're gone. So you got to be smart down there. So you go through those roving prison bars, and now you're in Tijuana, Mexico. Our process was we get a cab. We take a cab to where we want to go. It's about 10, 15 minutes away. We have our day, we party, take a cab out. $5 going in, $5 coming out. Go through the border, we go home, all's good. But Peso Dave, Peso Dave, he's cheap. So we could walk into the cab, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and Dave says, hey, let's go for a walk. We know how to get there. We don't need to take a cab, let's just walk. I said, Dave, you know the deal. I've told you about this Peso, I've told you. We don't go walking, we take a cab. Don't give me that stuff, and you promise me, and we're gonna take a cab, I'll pay going in, you pay coming out, and that's it. He's like, come on, what are you worried about? It's 10 o'clock in the morning, it's a beautiful day, the sun is out, we're in Tijuana, Mexico. What are you worried about? He talked me into it, folks. He talked me into it. So we start walking. So we're walking, and we're almost where we want to go, and all of a sudden this white truck comes driving by with 3 cops in it. One of the guys yells out, ven acá, ahora mismo, ahora mismo. I said, Dave, they're calling us. They're calling us. He's like, what? We stop, the cops get out, they start questioning us Spanish. Next thing you know, we're up against the truck. We're up against the truck. We're being frisked, going through all our stuff, checking for weapons, guns. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. We're walking down the street. We're dressed nice. We're here to spend money. We're here to, do a few things. We're spread eagle on the truck being harassed and being checked. They got our wallets and everything else, our money and everything else. So the cops start speaking to me in Spanish. Well, Dave don't know no Spanish. So Dave just sitting there like, well, I'll let him handle it, He knows what he's doing. He's not worried about a thing. Cop says to me, what are you doing here? Why are you in Tijuana? What brought you guys to Tijuana? I said, well, we came down for, some good Mexican food, some authentic Mexican food. Next to my license, you don't have good Mexican food in Los Angeles? I said, well, we came down to, get a good margarita, do a little partying, go to a couple of clubs. Well, you don't have restaurants or drinks in Los Angeles? These guys are drilling me. Asked me again. They said, what are you really down here for? What are you down here for? I said, well, we came down to have a great time. We came down for the ladies. Well, and I said that. 2 of the cops started laughing. They gave us back our wallets, and they let us go. So we went to a little diner for a bite to eat. I'm pissed off. I'm ready to leave. I'm really pissed off. Dave's like, what are you worried about? What are you worried about? We gave us back our money and our wallets and everything. We didn't go to jail. I said, yeah, this time. We didn't go to jail this time. What do? We didn't do nothing. We're walking down the street. We're minding our own business. 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't think a good idea of having fun is being spread eagle against some white pickup truck and having 3 cops frisk you and go through all your stuff and then ask me a bunch of questions in Spanish what I'm doing in their country. This is not my idea of a good time. I say the wrong thing, I do the wrong thing, I'm going to clink. So Dave's like, well, what do you want to do now? What do you want to do? You want to go home? You want to leave? I said, no, we're here now. Let's have a good day and make the best of it. But when we leave the day, this may be my last trip. I don't think I'm coming back anymore. This harassment's getting to be too much. And that's Tijuana, Mexico. And it's gotten a lot worse since then. Now, in my favor, I know how things work down there. In my favor, I speak the language. Doesn't stop us from getting harassed. Well, it doesn't help I'm with Dave, who's 6'3", big white guy, kind of fat. We always stick out when I'm with Dave. If I by myself, I probably wouldn't have as many problems. But I got Dave with me, so we stick out, so we're harassed. That's Mexico, folks. That's Mexico. Now it's gotten so crazy in these border towns and other parts of Mexico with the cartel and the police and the corruption. You see some of the news reports, and a lot of news reports you don't see. A lot of things happen you don't know about or hear about. It goes on everywhere in Mexico. The cartels have taken over. Go to the cops, they're part of them. The cops are part of them. Well, not all the cops. There's probably a couple good ones. The cops are either paid off by them or they're part of them altogether. So you can't go to the cops. You ask the locals, what do you think about the police? They hate them. We don't talk to the police. We don't go to the police. We stay away from the police. Why do people feel that way about their police departments in Mexico? Because they know they're in with the cartels. They know they're not there to help them. They know they can't trust them. They don't go to the cops. These poor people got to deal with life like that every day. They got to try to survive in that country with all these problems and try to raise their kids and try to survive. It's horrible, folks. It's horrible. So you go down there as an American tourist or Canadian tourist or wherever you're from, and you think you're going to have a great time. Things happen, you know. It's just the way it is. There's lookouts. People are watching for you. They're looking. Now, here's what you do. If you go down there, if you have to go down there, don't go down there. But if you have to go down there, here's what you do. First of all, hopefully you know some Spanish. Hopefully you understand some Spanish. So if they're talking about you, you know what's being said. You can kind of be forewarned about what's going on. Also, what you want to do is not wear any jewelry or nice clothes. You got to kind of dress poor. Dress average. Don't dress up all fancy, and don't wear a bunch of jewelry and earrings for the ladies. Don't do that. Don't entice the robberies and the harassment. Another thing you want to do is you want to stay in well-lit areas, and you want to be around some people in case you do get harassed or you do get arrested or something happens. You want somebody able to bail you out or help you get out of Dodge, if you know what I mean. Because things can happen awful quick in Mexico. So the best thing is just don't go. Don't go at all anymore. I hate to say it, don't go to that country. Maybe in a couple of years, things turn around, maybe it'd be safe to go. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Because it's gotten worse, 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 worse. It was bad when I was going there. And I was aware of it all. It's gotten a lot much worse now than it was then. My ex, who I told you I met in Acapulco, she left Mexico. She's left Mexico. She no longer lives in Mexico because of these problems. She's got some stories, and I'm not going to share any of those stories. Problems are real. The crime is real. The cartel is real. The police are corrupt. There's no one to help you. You're an American, you're Canadian. No one cares. In fact, you're a target because of it. Because you had a silver spoon your whole life. Yeah, you were born with a silver spoon. You got it made, but you don't live here in Mexico. So we're going to rob you. We're going to beat you. We're going to do what the hell we want with you. That's Mexico. Just don't go to Mexico, folks. That's the warning. Well, hope you've enjoyed this report. Hope you've learned something. Hope you were entertained. And I hope you take my advice and basically just stay out of Mexico. I'm Steve, S.H. Pancho Walters for Breaking News 500 here in Vero Beach, Florida. Have a great evening.